What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Ritchie, and today we're going to talk about getting out of that cowboy chord box that you may or may not be stuck in. And if you are stuck in it, I'm just going to show you a couple things to get out of that. Try to make it, not as complicated as it seems as it is, but it's really not. And hopefully get you moving on to playing more around the neck and maybe a few new ideas under your belt. So today we're going to take like a couple small progressions, and we're going to place them in bar chord shapes. So if you don't have bar chords down yet, then we will go over how to kind of get the feel for those and stuff. And then we'll do inversions if you already have the bar chords. So the inversions can help also expand just kind of like where you can go and what you can do on the guitar. So let's go ahead and dive right into it and check it out. So I'm just going to play some random progression in the key of C. So using a lot of the chords that you guys know, cowboy chord style first, and then we'll go through it with bar chords and then do some inversions. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with the bar chords and the inversions, and then we'll do the progression next, okay? So let's check it out. In music, there are two main chords that you're pretty much going to be using all of the time, which are major or minor chords. There are a couple of other chords out there like diminished and augmented, but those don't really pop up a lot in especially pop music and things like that, and they're kind of situational, So if you're interested in those sounds, definitely dive way into those. I'll probably do some videos on those at another point, but today we're just going to be focusing on major and minor chords, which is pretty much the basis for most music, right? They're going to be bar chords set on the 6th string, so up here, where they're rooted on the 6th string, the shape for the major, and then we're going to root chords on the 5th string, okay? So a major chord is just a major chord. There's no like a G major, it's the same type of chord as A major or C major or any other major chord. So when you say major chord, you're really talking about a quality, and then you apply that quality to just the note that you want it for. So if you want G major, right, we find G right here, and we play G major chord, right? This is a G major shape. Maybe the camera can see it there a little bit better. So let's just talk about the shape real quick. We're going to bar our index finger over the 6 strings of the guitar, and then we're going to put our ring finger on the 5th fret, pinky on the 5th fret, the string below, and then our middle finger is going to be placed right there on the G string. And then we're just going to strum all of them. To make sure you have all of them clear, just do it like one at a time. Right? Clear and beautiful. If you have half of them clean, and like there's one or two that are kind of off, just kind of shift your fingers around a little bit, try to find why that's happening until you get it where they're all clean, and you're good to go. All right, so that's a major shape. So one thing that's really nice about major and minor chords is that there's only one note in the chord that is different. So to go from G major to G minor, all we do is just take off the middle finger here. Super easy. Now it's G minor, okay? That's the major and minor shape for the 6 string bar chord. We're going to do the major and minor shapes for the 5 string bar chord. So that means the root is starting on the 6th string here, the 5th string here. So we're going to do C major because it's just in this area. If we wanted to do G again, we'd have to find G on this string, and actually G is right here, so it would be up here, right? But we're not going to play up here right now. We're just going to kind of keep it in this area. So this is a major chord shape. This is C major. So you're going to put your index finger right here on the 3rd fret and the A string. And then we're just going to bar our ring finger on those next 3 strings. We're only playing the middle 4 strings in this example. Right? Obviously you don't put your middle finger here like this, so just put it like that. Some people like to use their pinky to bar it like this. I find that is very, very straining on my pinky. I do not like that. I don't know how people do that. Not for me. Ring finger it is. So this is major, right? So this is the same exact quality as the first chord that we played from the 6th string position. This is a major shape, right? So it doesn't matter where you place this shape or this shape, right? This shape is major. It's always going to be major, and that's it. So if somebody says, play an A major chord, right? All you need to know is that major shape, and then just find the note A. So if here's G, and we did G major, then we just count up 2, right? So G, G sharp, A, and then we just play the major shape again, right? So all of these correspond to the cowboy chords. So this is G major, the cowboy chord you all know. The root note is G here. And then we're just going to do, the root note is G, but we're going to do this shape instead. Okay? And then G minor. Take off that middle finger. Again, for the 5-string shape, C major. And the same rule applies here as well, to where all you have to do is change one note in the chord, and you will have C minor. The only difference between this shape and this change between the major and minor for the 5-string version opposed to the 6-string version is that we do have to kind of reconfigure our fingers a little bit here, unlike when we did it here, because here you just literally just take off a finger and it's minor and that's all dandy, right? But down here when you do C major like this, do a major shape like this, to get the minor shape, we're just going to drop this, the last note we're playing. We're dropping it from here, we're just dropping it to right there. So we're going to have to reconfigure our fingers. We'll put our middle finger on that newly flattened note there, and then we'll go ahead to keep those 2 notes that we had earlier with these 2 fingers, our ring and pinky. This is C minor now, okay? Coincidentally enough, the shape for C minor, like as far as the hand goes, the shape of it, the feel of it, is the same as the 6-string major. So if you see, there's the G major, and if all I do is just take my fingers down, now it's C minor, right? It's a minor shape. So 6-string major shape, 6-string minor shape, 5-string major shape, 5-string minor shape. Okay? And that's all we need to know. It's just 4 shapes, okay? So all of you have definitely learned this. Right, all of the, maybe not that one. Right, all of the cowboy chord shapes. I would argue that's probably, as far as how much your hand is moving, it's more complicated than what I'm talking about today, because the shapes change so much. Like a G shape looking like this is radically different than the C shape, right? And then the D shape is radically different than the E minor shape. They're radically different feeling and all this stuff. So when people get these down, they kind of get into this comfortable realm where they think, oh, I can't learn anything outside of this, or anything outside of this is too hard or something like that. And I want to argue the opposite here, because here there's only 4 shapes for all of the chords, right? There's not like an individual shape for every single chord like there is with the cowboy chords. And you're using roughly the same amount of notes, in all of them as well. So major, minor, major. And okay, let me explain this here, because somebody riffed me once online about this, and it's just, it got to me, so I'm going to have to mention it here. Okay, so when you have a 5-string bar chord like this, so I'm using C right here, and then I'm barring these, okay? So the note right here on the 3rd fret above that C, if you just place your whole finger on it like that, that note is in this chord. And it's in every chord shape that you do like this, right? So that's the note G up here, and G is the 5th of C. And so when you're playing this right here, the first note is C, the second note is G, okay? So when we place our finger on top of also the 6th string, we're getting that G in the bass. It sounds like this. It's just a fuller sound. You know, you can choose to do it or not do it. So you'll see me a lot of the time when I'm holding that major bar chord shape like this, or even the minor one, you'll see my index finger actually be on the 6th string, and it might seem kind of confusing. But know that you can do that, and it's in the chord. It's totally fine. There's nothing weird about it. It adds a kind of another layer of thickness from the guitar standpoint, right? So you can do it for the major or the minor shape. Just know that when I'm doing this, these are the fingers that we're paying attention to here. I don't want to make that confusing, okay? I will put that up there because if I want to use that lower note, then I can. And if I don't want to, my right hand is the one to choose that, right? Because I can just play the 5th string and down. Right, okay, so let's look at a chord progression that we can do. Something easy, I guess like 4 chords or something. So I'll do C major, E minor, A minor, and G major. Right? Now let's just do it all bar chord style. Next chord is what? E minor. Okay? So you might be like, I don't know where E minor is on the fretboard. Alright? So this is kind of something else to learn here. Obviously, kind of where the notes are on the neck. But if the root note of every chord is either on the 6th string or the 5th string, there's not a whole lot of options as far as places that you have to look to find what you need. So if we go, let's play the C, and we'll play the E minor. Okay, let's see if we can just find it by the sound. That's E, right? So let's find it elsewhere. Let's find it on the 5th string. Is the C? No. Hey, that sounds like they're the same, right? Alright, so that must be E. Kind of use your ear to mash up the tones. Like if I hit a C here on the 5th fret, and I want to find a C on the 3rd fret. I want to find a C on the 6th string. Let's just see if I can find the sound again. Hey, there's C again, right? So if I want to do a C major here, or I want to do a C major, but the other major version that we did for G, but we do it on C, we move up to that C note, and we just play the 6th string major version. Okay, just like G major, it's the same exact shape, it's just on a different note. Right, it's a different chord. So let's continue. So C, then we want to do E minor, so we found that E, which is on the 7th fret, and now we just have to do that minor shape, right, on the E minor. What was the next chord we had? We had A minor. So if this is A minor, this A minor is, this A is here. The next A on the 5th string is going to be all the way here. So we're not going to use all the way to the 12th fret, you know. We're not going to do an A minor shape on the 12th fret. It's pretty crowded up there, and it's also higher pitched than what we're looking for. So what do? We need to find the next thing that's lower and go down to the 6th string, right? So we have this A minor here. Let's find A on the top string. Right? Those are the same. So we just need to go here and do a minor shape. Just like we learned earlier. It's the same as the major shape, you just take off the middle finger. Alright, so now we have C, E minor, A minor, and then G major, right? So just back to G. So that really got us moving around the fretboard a lot, right? A lot more than this. Right, a lot more movement. Okay, let's see if we can get into some more movement here. So I'm not sure which of you needed just the bar chord section, and you're gonna wait on this next section. This video is getting a little lengthy, so we'll see. But we're gonna do some inversions, okay? And this sounds way complicated, and everybody's like, oh, I don't know. You ask somebody, hey, do you know what an inversion is? They're like, I have no idea, right? And you know, a lot of the lingo in music is just confusing because of the sound of it. It's just kind of conflated, I guess, in a way. So all an inversion is, let's take a look at a chord. So you have C major here. This chord is made up of 3 notes. Some of the notes are repeating when we play a full chord like this, right? So this is like C, G, C, E, okay? So we have 2 C's in this particular voicing of C major, but a chord at its bare bones has 3 notes. It's a root third and a fifth. So all an inversion is when you take a chord like this. This is C major, and all we have to do is have the lowest note be one of the other 2 notes in the chord, right? So there's only 3 notes in the chord, and an inversion is, so if we have C, E, and G, if I took this C and I moved it here, then we had E, G, and C. The lowest note would be E, and that would make it an inversion, right? And then you can put a G on the lowest note, and it would be also an inversion. There are names for those inversions, but it's not important right now. In this lesson, we're just going to do first inversions, okay? That means that the next note in the chord, so if C, E, G, we're going to put the next note. So not C, but E in the bass. So let's look at it. It's easier to visualize it on the guitar than to try to think about it, right? So we have C major. You're going to be shocked at how easy this is if you don't already know exactly what this is. So let's look at it from a pattern perspective. We need to find E for the lowest note. Now we could do this. We hit the lowest E note, right? And that would be C first inversion, or an inversion of C. But let's just say that we don't want to use that open string. It doesn't really sound that good, honestly. It probably has its place in certain context. But if we want to be able to keep just using the strings that we're laying our fingers on and not have any open strings, how would we do that? So we're gonna go. We need the lowest note to be E. So we're on C. We need to count up to E. How do we find E? Same way we did earlier. If you don't know how to count up to it, you can find an E that you do know, like this one, and match it. There's E. All right. So check out how easy this is, right? So here's C. Okay. We need to use this E. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our index finger and we're going to replace this right here with the index, the same notes that we're holding from C, and we're just going to place our ring finger right there on E. You'll notice it doesn't really sound that much different. Just by itself, it doesn't have a huge amount of difference, especially on the guitar. You know, if you get on the piano, you can voice it a million ways, right? Okay, so what I wanted to do today is to do all of the bar chords, the major and minor for the 6th string, just the 2 major and minor, and then the major and minor for the 5th string, and then just the major and minor first inversions for each. So this is C major, and here is the first inversion of C major. Okay, now we're going to do it for minor, okay? C minor. And I will say that when it gets to the minor chords, the shapes start changing, okay? The concept does not change at all. The concept is exactly the same. It's the same as this. But the actual way it looks with your fingers and the way it feels can be a little irritating sometimes because you gotta kind of finagle a little bit. So I'm gonna make it I'm going to show you the easiest one, okay? So, major, C minor, and then all we're going to do is move up to the minor third, which I didn't explain that earlier. I'll explain that in another video. But I'll just show you the shapes. So you know how, like, when we have I'll explain it right now. You know, when we have the major chord, and to make it minor, we just change the one note, right? Like we did with G major, and we just take the note off. That note is the third, right? So just like in the chord C major, we have C, E, and G. To make it C minor, it's C, E flat, G, okay? So if we have the C major voicing here, and we go up and do a first inversion C major, and we're using that E, how would we make this minor, right? Well, if E is flattened in C minor, then we just take that down a half step, just like we did when we went here. Right? Just like that. It's just on the bass notes of it. So here's C minor. And then we're going to do it like this. We're going to put our middle finger here. We're going to hold these two strings just like we hold them here. These two, we're holding it with our index. Putting our middle finger here. And to make this easier on us, we're going to put our pinky down right here. This looks a little bit complicated, but it really, honestly, if you have your guitar with you right now, just try these out with me, okay? I know it's easy to watch YouTube videos and just watch them, but if you just keep your guitar in your hand and stop a video, watch my fingers a little bit, rewind it, you know, these are very easy voicings. Now, when you're practicing these, you're going to have to hold them down for a long time to get them. Your hand will start to wear out because it's wearing my hand out right now, just completely holding these down for so long. Now, when you're playing guitar, you're like lifting your hand off and it gives it a break and you can play for a long time. But when you're just practicing this, you will kind of strain your hand out. So don't worry about that. So again, C minor, let's move up to that E flat, the middle finger. We're going to hold down those two, same two as these, right? Right here. Hold it, middle finger, pinky down here. So, okay. We're gonna do the same thing for the G, the sixth string major and sixth string minor. Okay. So let's check it out. Here's major, G major, the one we learned earlier. We're going to do the first inversion, G major, okay? So to do that, we have to take the second note in the chord, which is G, B, D are the notes in the chord. We need to go up to B and put it in the bass and have a G over it like this. So here's G. And then we're going to go up to B here. If you want an easier way to remember this, again, same thing with the major. The note that you need to have as the lowest is 2 whole steps away. So from this C, you do 2 whole steps. There you go, C, that, and then you do that shape, right? So same with this one. G major, 2 whole steps away. All right, and we're gonna build that chord off this note. But we're gonna use our middle finger. All right, so this one's a little bit different here. It's a middle finger, and we're actually skipping over the A string. Okay, and we're kind of muting it with this finger. This shape is, it's kind of positioned in a way where your finger naturally kind of lays on the A string, right? I'm plucking that and it has no sound. So you don't have to put too much mind into that. It would be kind of hard to have the A string not muted, right? So you don't have to worry too much about that. So middle finger on B, which is the 7th fret. We're gonna skip over the A and we're gonna put our index finger down here, which is actually G, it's the octave of G. And then we're gonna have our ring finger on the same fret, the same 7th fret, on the G string there. And then we're gonna have our pinky on G on the B string. Okay, and it sounds like this. So. Okay. do an A minor one. Now let's see if we can logically put this together here. So when we did the C major one, and we went to C major first inversion, to get the minor one, we just dropped this note, right? We just dropped that E to an E flat and played it like that. So that's all we need to do for this next one. Let's see how easy it is. G major first inversion. To get this in the minor form, all we have to do is drop this note. Okay, G major, G minor, G major, G major, G minor, G minor. Okay. So now that we have these inversions, you can play them all over the place in place of any of these chords. So if you're playing a C here, and you don't want to play this C, and you want to be somewhere else on the fretboard, you can just do that C first inversion. Okay? And then, and move to the next chord. So if we look at that progression that we used earlier, right, we'll do C here. And notice we're already on E with this first inversion of C. But the next chord's E minor, so what should we do? Well, the next chord's E minor, but we don't want to keep that E in the bass. How about we just do E minor first inversion, right? So we go to E, we find that minor chord, and we do that first inversion that we learned earlier, which is where you go up to, right, the minor third, and you just play those notes like that. So if we played C to E minor with the first inversions, quite pretty. Next chord was what? A minor. So then we can go to A minor here. Right? So we're at the A minor, and we could do, if we wanted to, the first inversion as well. Remember that minor first inversion? Actually, you know what? Hey, everybody. Okay, check it out. So my other camera died, and we're just going to continue on this one, because I'm not about to stop the video and have to go through all that camera stuff. So let's do it here. Back up here. All right, check it out. All right, I know this is a long video, but it is what it is. So we're at A minor, and the next chord is G in the progression, right? We went C, E minor, A minor, G, C. So we went first inversion C, first inversion E minor, regular A minor, and then instead of going to the G major, we can just do the first inversion G major. So right, that's really pretty. You can also split these up to be where you do them in half time, right? So if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 2 beats of the regular position, and then we'll do 2 beats of the first inversion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, folks. Sorry about my hair too. Sweaty mess in here. Okay. yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry this is a super long video. I don't like videos that take a very short amount of time to thoroughly explain something, especially for some people that would like an actual explanation instead of some guy just ripping through it super fast. Even though I felt like some of the parts was probably a little too fast or something like that, but tried my best, and it's about 32 minutes right now, and yep, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. Stay tuned for more videos, and please, I'm looking for ideas for things that people would like to know. So leave me a comment, subscribe. I will try to make videos pertaining to questions in the comments. And yep, keep practicing, everybody, and hope you enjoy this lesson. Peace.